probably have, two of the better wins really in our league this year. When you look at their victory over Mississippi State, and you also look at their victory over San Diego State, and both of them very, very impressive. Last week they pretty much were losing to Georgia State the whole game and scored twice, 10 points, I think, in the last 5 minutes of the game to win the game. So give them credit. They have some good players across the board, really on both sides of the football, which you have to have to be able to win 2 games like they won against an SEC team and against a team like San Diego State. I haven't been following San Diego State, but I know they were undefeated at the time that South Alabama played them. But offensively, it's you got to have a plan. I'm not necessarily sure an answer, but you certainly have to have a plan forever. He creates a lot of problems. He's a good football player, and he has a great presence on the field when you look at him. And he's somebody. Watching Sun Belt games a little bit over the last couple of years before I ever realized I'd be here. Whether you DVR a Wednesday night game or Thursday night game, he's somebody that I remembered and stuff. And I think it was a game maybe they played last year or year before against Lafayette, like on a Wednesday or Thursday. I remember getting home and watching the second half, and he's the kind of guy that, wow, he's number 12. That he kind of certainly catches your attention from the get-go. I like their quarterback. I think he does some nice things. Defensively, I think the strength of their team on defense is their linebackers, and they do a nice job of running the football, both 32 and 5. Excuse me. Both 32 and 5 really do a nice job of running the ball and doing some things. So, it's are we concerned about South Alabama? Absolutely, but right now we're more concerned about what we got here than what we're going to get here, and that's the main thing. I think it just takes a group of guys that are, hey, we're better than this. We got to play better than this, and hopefully we'll get that soon.
Looking at your time as a head coach, have you ever been a part, of anything like this where it's kind of been this bad as far as struggling and trying to get these guys to rally up, so to speak? And how do you do that other than just sit there and having some tough discussions and heart-to-heart conversations and things like that?
It's actually been a while, since I've been involved with it. I think when there's always I think when you're trying to do what we're trying to do, there's always times that you think you're turning the corner, and then you hit bumps or whatever. And but all I know to do is to practice and keep coaching, and I tell the coaches, keep correcting, keep getting on them and keep loving them. That's all you can do. I don't know. Like I said, it's disappointing because I do think that we're I think that's what's frustrating as a coach. I think we're more talented than what we're playing in some of these games. And my take on this whole deal has always been, you guys, I came after the game, we're in here on the Monday after Georgia Southern, disappointed we lost. Hey man, we competed and played and whatever. That's football. I was obviously disappointed. We turned the ball over 4 or 5 times against Idaho, but we were down 16 twice. Battle back, battle, let's go, and we didn't figure out a way to win the game. That's one thing, but this is a different level of frustration in the sense that, I wanted to win those games, and maybe if we'd have won a couple of those games, that might have changed their psychic a little bit, their confidence a little bit. I don't know, but regardless, it's just our job as coaches is to try to get the best out of players, and we don't think you're doing that. That's frustrating.
Morale-wise, how do you make sure that they continue to buy into the system when you have 2 big losses?
I don't know. That's just something. We just go back to work, really, and it's not. I've told them that before. It's the buying in and all that. That was when we got hired. That was in off season. Us buying into them. That was in the off season. It's different. It's during the season. Whether you want to buy in, whether you don't want to buy in, we're stuck with each other, and stuff. So I don't talk about that really anymore. And as coaches, we're trying to figure out a way to coach these kids. Oh, sure, we're recruiting for next year like everybody else is, but I'm not looking to, hey, we don't want you guys, we want more guys. We're trying to figure out a way to, because that's a situation that we have. We have those guys in the locker room and they have us. So like I said, it's a great question, but all the buying in, like I've told them before, I could care less you bought in or not. We're in the season. It's about you doing the best you can and everybody doing the best they can or whatever. And the buying in of whatever needs to come after the season, we got to figure out a way to play the best we can play. And that's what we're trying to do.
I guess with 18 and 21-year-old kids, when you have 2 weeks like that, is it tough mentally for them?
It has to be. And we'll meet this afternoon and start meeting. But I've talked to several of them. Yeah, it has to be. And I've always been a believer in the programs that I've went and tried to flip. And I heard something as a young coach years ago that I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to be misquoted, but I listened to a 3-hour lecture in San Angelo, Texas, and he was the program builder, so to speak. And the first thing he said, the first thing you got to get through your head as a coach that's going in is nobody wants to lose. So your job is to figure out a way to motivate them that they can win. And hey, we got to be able to take this and what we have here. And I believe that here. I think these kids want to win. I know they do. They come here and they work hard like anybody else does. I just think there's some barriers that we have to get over, whether it's confidence, whether it's whatever you're saying, buying in. I don't know what it is, but sooner or later, you got to get through all that. You got to get past all that because you're right in the middle of the season and stuff, and especially this kind of season. When you look at it, you turn around and it's back to another week. By October 29th, we already had 5 pretty tough road trips by October 29th. Now, that's something I'm not used to, we're getting home at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning trips. That ain't, to be honest with you, that's different for me. And, but hey, you got to get back, you got to regroup. And, people always ask me, why, have you not doing anything on Sunday? Well, that'd be kind of hard. With this schedule and what we're doing, and we have a home game and then turn around and have 2 more, right after that. And neither one of the 2 that we have left are going to be easy, road games. But you have to regroup and, stuff. And it's just, I think the experience part of it, so to speak, that's where I think that comes in. Not so much as when people, mention experience to me in playing, all these kids that play football. I'm talking about the experience and understanding the grind and understanding the preparation and understanding and, having your emotions in check and having everything in check to be able to put that one behind you and move it. I think that a lot of that is where experience comes in. And, some programs have had good experience with it and some haven't. And, but that's what we have to change. I think more than anything else, just understanding, put this behind you. Here comes the next one, and you have to have that because regardless of if you're in a situation like we are this year, or if you're in a situation, I think I'm not trying to just talk about some of the stuff Adam and I were talking about the other night. He asked me, you haven't been through this in a while, and I haven't, but you have problems even when you win. Believe it or not, you have big problems. This guy's not getting to play, and he's not playing. It is that. But you got to be willing. You got to put this one behind you. Let's move forward. Okay, win or lose. Let's go. Put this one. And I think that's where the experience a lot comes in, and kids understanding, how that part of it works. And that's our job as coaches to teach them. And right now, I'm not doing a really good job of it.
When you look back, you've been here for 10 months now, and at the same time, this season's not going like anyone wanted. And obviously, it's disappointing, especially for somebody like you who really hasn't been through this a whole lot. But as you're trying to get these kids to play and build this program and everything, in this process, has it been a little tougher than you anticipated when you got here?
No, not really. No, you always hope that any other situations I've been in, you always hope that maybe this one will be a little smoother. But it all seems to go back to the same things. And I'll say this, I don't know, in terms of disappointment or whatever, up until 2 weeks ago, it was going good. I thought it was. Like I said, You were 2-4. I know, but we're trying to get them to compete every week and do this and do that, whatever. And that's what I want to see. And in terms of building the program and how you're doing it, the last 2 weeks, I'll give, not taking away with Arkansas State. I mean, Mexico was tough. I mean, we knew that. Second lead rushing team. We're minus some guys on defense. That's, 2 freshman quarterbacks, first start. We knew that would be a little tough. But this last week, no. I don't, no. That's definitely a major step back, in my opinion. Different than New Mexico. Like I said, not taking anything away from Arkansas State or anybody else, but, we didn't play the wishbone and, minus some guys defensively, like we had, but that wasn't the case of the night. I mean, you look at our deal and somebody said, yeah, I mean, would it help to have Trey Hunter? Yes. Would it help to have Marcus Hubbard? Yes. I mean, that's our 2 starting safeties. I think that would help maybe solidify some things back there, but I can't go really to a position and watch the tape like I did yesterday morning and watch all 3 phases of the game and go, yeah, we were lacking here, but we were really good here, here, and here. No, I don't see it. I didn't really see it in any position.
So it's fair to say that in Arkansas was a team kind of like Georgia Southern. You all thought you could, line up and compete, and, go toe to toe with it.
We certainly did, and yeah, no doubt, we certainly did. And my approach is, and which is different than I guess maybe I'll say different. I don't know if it's different, but I mean I go in there every day. I'm going in there today and tell them again, hey, it's a winnable game Saturday. Why end it? I'm confused, and same thing I said last week. I mean, do I think Arkansas State's got some good players? Yeah, I do. I've never been to Jonesboro, but I'm sure it's a tough place to play. Whatever. But yeah, I thought it was, just when you look at it, it's a winnable game. Now, does that mean you're going to win? Not, not always, but I mean, looking at it, I didn't see it was any different than the other conference games and stuff. But and they South Al like Arkansas State too. I mean, you look at their roster, and we got to build ours and continue to improve our roster and stuff. I mean, these are Arkansas State's been there several years. Coach Jones has been at South Al several years, and you look at their roster. I mean, of the starters of the 22, 11 seniors, 8 juniors, and 3 sophomores. 0 freshmen. Starting 2 of the 3 sophomores or redshirt sophomores. That means they're in their 3rd year. I mean, that would constitute them 2 guys. That would constitute a lot of experience here. And that's stuff. But I mean, they built good rosters and and stuff. And so anyway, well, I see it as a great opportunity. We're playing home. I think we've done some good things here, and we're gonna work hard to do a lot better than we did last week.
And when you look at a team like South Alabama, you mentioned they beat Mississippi State, they beat San Diego State, but then they start 0-2 in their conference, and makes you wonder just kind of about the consistency of things. I think everybody in some way is kind of wondering what's going on over there. What do you make of kind of how their season's played out?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this conference or whatever, and based off of what I'm seeing, I mean, you have to play good, every week. And when you don't, for whatever reason, it could be a lot of variables into that, but you better play good every week or you're going to get beat. And I think that's kind of their case when you look at it. They went in, they got behind early against Lafayette, lost the game. They got behind early against Georgia Southern, come off a week from beating Mississippi State. And then the next week they get behind and whatever. I mean, they got Troy beat the whole game and lose at the end of the game. They were losing the whole game last week. So there's no doubt. I mean, it's been up and down for them. But what I do know is you got to have good players to do what they're doing in some of these games. I mean, you have to be. They look it on tape, but you have to be extremely talented to just line up and not only beat San Diego State, but they beat San Diego State. You go back and look at the tape. I mean, that's no fluke. What was it, 3 touchdowns? I think was the difference, 17, 21 points. But my point is, San Diego State didn't go in there and turn the ball over 10 times. They lined up and beat them. Mississippi State didn't go in there and turn the ball over 10 times. They lined up and beat them and stuff. So you have to have talented players to do that.
You look at their defensive depth chart. They're too deep. We've got Bandits and Stingers and Rovers and Wolves and all kinds of different stuff. Is that just kind of a window into how multiple these guys are defensively?
Well, it's just, I mean, they're based out of 8 man front. and stuff. So it's not like they're doing a whole lot different than what we're doing. They just have names for them. Instead of calling them defensive ends or whatever, then they have their names that they put on them, or whatever. But when you look at it, their bandit basically is Caleb Tucker. Their wolf is basically Shaq Warren, in terms of what they're doing. Their Mike, or whether their Stinger is what we call our Willbacker. Their Husky is the weak safety. That's whatever. So they just have names on them. But when you look at them, they base out of a 4-2-5, and they have some good stuff on third down. A couple things a little bit different that we have to prepare for, but the problem's not going to be where they're at. The problem's going to be, they got good players and us executing.
They're outscoring opponents 71-36 in the fourth.
I saw that.
How important is it to make sure you don't get out to a big lead this weekend?
Well, I think it's important for us really, to get off to a better start than what we had the last couple of weeks. I think that's the main thing that we got to try to do, and try to give our guys the confidence to start better than what we had the last couple of weeks. And fourth quarter, yeah, sure, but we got to make sure that we start out in the first quarter. I'm more concerned about the first quarter than the fourth quarter, to be honest with you.
Also, it doesn't seem like many teams are having success passing the ball on them. Doesn't seem to be attempting that many passes against them. When you're going in this with two freshman quarterback, the importance of establishing the run this week.
Well, I think it's been, and it's certainly hurt us the last 2 weeks, and and I keep making the comments and keep saying it every week, and when we struggle, that's what we're getting into. Second and long and third and longs are not good, regardless of who the quarterback is. It's just not good, and we ended up with way too many of them. Too many second and 10s, too many second and 12s, too many third and 8s, too many third and 13s. It's really, really hard. It's really hard to win like that, to be successful and to sustain drives when that's what you're doing. And all you have to do, and it's one thing I always look at and I'll follow and really study more at the end of the year is following the NFL, because they keep stats on everything, and where you get the ball in relation to how much you score, what the, that's, I heard a coach talk about it 2 or 3 years ago, and you laugh, and everybody makes a big deal about third down conversions. That was his point. But if you don't do good on first and second down, you show me a team that's good on third down, and I'll show you a team that's good on first and second down. If you're not very good on first and second down, then how you expect to be a good third down team? Because teams that are good on third down are teams that have, that are third and manageable situations. You end up with 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. You don't end up with 3rd and 12. It's not good. I think the NFL average is 18%, 3rd and 12. I think somewhere around there, 17, 18%. And
It actually seems high.
Huh?
It actually seems high for 3rd and 12. But no, have you had an experience like this where this many injuries affected your season?
Yeah, I have. And I've been through definitely years like this with injuries. So, like I said, it's part of the game. I've always said that. You have to overcome, whether it's Garrett Smith or whether it's Trey Hunter, whether it's whoever, Tyler Kane, whoever it is. You have to overcome those things, and I think each person, each player has to take the end coach has to take it upon himself to pick up their game, and we haven't done that.
Is there a kind of update on who's going to be able to go this week on the injury front?
No, I thought we were close with a couple of guys last week, and disappointing, but I would think, based off the information I have right now, I would think that I would expect Trey Hunter to go, and just age-old deal, hamstrings and skill guys, just not good. Marcus Hopper is still fighting. He got hurt the first play of the second half of the Georgia Southern game, and he still hobbled. He'll practice a day, and then and it's just it's hard to and he just he hasn't been. He's played a few snaps here and there, but he hasn't been the same guy. It really makes sense. And you go back to in the first half of the Georgia Southern game, he was playing pretty good, and he made the play in the first play of the second half of the Georgia Southern game right on our sideline. And You know, but yeah, like I said, anytime you receivers, running backs, DBs, and hamstrings, it's hitting, you know, it's touch and go. You know, you think they're back, and you think they're back ready, and then it tightens up again, and you work it, and you know, it's just, I know they're frustrated. The kids are, the ones that are hurt, because they want to be back in too.